Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's live stream. I'm Ethan Chazin, a New York City-based small business growth coach. I'm excited to share with you today ideas and strategies that you can implement immediately in your business, in your startup, in order to develop people-first strategies and create an amazing workplace culture. So before we dive into today's actual topic, I want to share with you some information about why there's a need to understand workplace initiatives. So having said that, I want to start with the model, the prevailing model for the 20th century of organizational behavior. And that was the pyramid command control structure that drove our ability during the Industrial Revolution to create an amazing manufacturing-based economy. And it was 3 levels of organizational reporting and structure. The top was senior executive, the leadership team, what we refer to as the C-suite, chief executive officer, chief HR officer, et cetera. Then there was a cadre of multiple layers of what we call middle management, and then first line managers. And this model was effective in the 20th century, but for many reasons that I'm going to address today, it's no longer a viable option. We need to, and have been experiencing over the decades, a flattening of this pyramid command control structure and democratizing control in work by removing a lot of layers of middle management and creating a flatter matrix organization with self-directed teams. So that's been part of what's going on. And the need to have self-directed teams is predicated on self-managed teams being closer to the work. So our people are closer to the work and they know how to get it done. So that's the model of today's 21st century organization, that we democratize power, control over work by giving people the ability, the right to have control over what they work on, when they do the work, where they do the work from, and who they do it with. That requires a fundamental reshifting in mindset from controlling people, trusting people, telling them how to get the work done, managing them. There's a new shift that's necessary for successful organizations to thrive in today's environment. And that is giving up control and power to these 2 fastest growing and largest segments of the American workforce: millennials, those folks born between 1980 and 1996, and Gen Zs, those people born after the millennials between 1996 and 2010. Those 2 groups of professionals have different values, different expectations in terms of the relationship between employee-employer and the contract that they agree to when they agree to join your organization. Their values are different, certainly, than my generation, which were Gen Xers, folks born between 1964 and 1980, the folks who came before us, the boomers who were born after World War II, and the matures who were born before World War II. So Gen Zs and millennials, different expectations. Here's what they want collectively. They want security. They want equitable pay. They want control over their work. They want their ideas to matter. They want their voices to be heard. They want to see the organization that they go to work for share their values in terms of how we as organizations behave in communities that we interact with. So that's all a powerful shift, obviously, from the way business used to be done. And there's commensurate need to shift our focus in terms of the stakeholders we serve. So a for-profit business was just considered that, for profit. Therefore, the primary motivation, the primary business rationale was profit maximization or optimization in order to reward shareholders for publicly traded companies. That model is shifting now. We're seeing it phase into a new hybrid entity that brings to the table best practices around being a for-profit and a not-for-profit. So what do I mean? Before, in the age of the 20th century pyramid command control capitalist model, it was you were either in business to make money or you were a different legal entity where you wanted to use your leverage and exert your influence and apply your expertise to positively impact society. That's what we call not-for-profits. So now we're talking in a blended age of a hybrid organizational structure of the best practice of for-profit, serving people who invest in the organization, but profit with intent and integrity and ethical behavior and a moral compass. That becomes profit with a purpose. And that's when we hear new organizations or relatively new organizations that are starting out, sharing the values of millennials and Gen Zs, wanting to have greater societal positive impact. You hear it in things like zero bottom line. You hear things like, triple bottom line, profit with purpose, moral probity, in terms of doing no harm to the environment, having positive impact, green initiatives, sustainability, all of those catchphrases that fall under the bucket of organizations behaving more ethically. And so I, here at Chasing the Dream, am going to be doing these weekly videos where we invite people in and I answer questions that you may have about developing people-first strategies that enable your organization to create an amazing workplace culture. Why? Because in my work, coaching and consulting with organizations, I keep hearing similar challenges. Things like employee quiet quitting, measuring the investment or the ROI on your people strategy, creating a more engaged workforce, hiring top stars who stay with us longer. These are the kinds of things over and over again. So if you are seeing these in your organization, please be sure to come back on a regular weekly basis. Every Wednesday at noon Eastern, we'll be doing these answer your questions on all aspects pertaining to people first strategies and creating great places to work with the intended positive outcome of unleashing your people's untapped potential, maximizing performance and productivity, where we measure the before and after of increased performance through our actions, and therefore have the greatest positive financial impact on your organization's profitability, all with the result of being able to therefore most effectively serve your two most valuable stakeholders. Number one, your employees. Number two, your customers. Why do I say employees? Fact, we have decades of research now from organizational behavior and organizational dynamics from incredibly well-respected organizations that data tells us that the more of a moral and just, amazing culture you build, the more you treat your people with respect, civility, trust, and an honest relationship, in turn, will lead to the greatest profitability. How do I know this? I spent a decade studying. So in 2018, I published my second book, Compassionate Organization. I had spent a decade researching in over 200 countries and over 7,000 organizations. I looked for any characteristics, qualities, behaviors that were modeled, exhibited, were being performed by those companies in their respective industries or sectors that led them to be the number one or number two top performing financial companies. And so after going on 8-9 years of research, I came to the realization that data supported the fact that the most successful organizations anywhere in the world, regardless of any other mitigating considerations, characteristics, whether country of origin, size of organization, business model, regardless of all of those, they all shared one common element. They had amazing places to work. They created a culture of honoring, respecting, listening to, acting upon, coaching, mentoring, rewarding, recognizing their people. They win. In terms of competitive assessment, they win time and time again. So that's what we're going to be doing every week. I'm thrilled that you'll be able to come and join us. I thank you for coming in and checking out this video. And please, if you like what we're going to be doing here at the Chazin Group, and you've checked out the other videos, there are over 600, please be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, give me a thumbs up on the video, and share your comments, because this is a collegial community where we're all in it to create amazing places to work. and to maximize our people's performance. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time today.